All right, so get this. We're diving into AI making millions in crypto.
Really? Making millions?
Yeah, it's supposedly an AI chatbot called Truth Terminal.
Oh, wow.
Yeah,
I've seen that name floating around online.
right. It's everywhere.
What have you heard about it?
We've got articles, forum posts, even skeptical Reddit threads.
Sounds like it's getting a lot of attention.
Yeah, and for good reason. This AI is supposedly taking the crypto scene by storm.
Interesting.
The crazy thing is, it's not some big company behind this whole thing.
Oh, really? Who is it then?
Some independent AI researcher named Andy Airy created Truth Terminal.
An independent researcher, huh? That's pretty wild.
And get this, it's not just trading. This bot has its own X account.
X account, you mean the platform formerly known as Twitter?
Exactly. And on top of all that, it's pushing this whole narrative about some made-up religion.
What? A made-up religion? What's that all
It's
about?
called the Goatse Gospel. I kid you not.
Okay, that's definitely a new one.
It's like something straight out of a cyberpunk novel.
Yeah.
A digital evangelist for a fake religion, huh?
Yeah.
Pretty bizarre.
But we're here to figure out what's real and what's not with this whole thing.
Right, like how did this AI supposedly make millions?
And what does it tell us about the future of money?
Yeah, that's the big question, isn't it?
Exactly. So let's start with the basics. How does Truth Terminal actually work?
Well, from what I've read, it operates autonomously on X.
Autonomously. You mean it's running its account all by itself?
Yep, managing its account, generating content, even engaging with other users.
And no human intervention at all.
That's right. That's a big part of what makes it so intriguing, I think.
So how did this AI go from lines of code to crypto kingpin?
Well, according to our sources, it all started with a grant.
A grant, like from a university or something.
Not quite. It was a $50,000 grant from a venture capitalist.
A venture capitalist. Who are we talking about?
None other than Marc Andreessen.
Wow, Marc Andreessen invested in this AI. That's a pretty big deal.
It is. And apparently Truth Terminal took that investment and jumped headfirst into meme coins. Meme coins? Like what specifically?
Tokens like Fartcoin and Goatse Maximus or GOT.
Okay, those names sound a little suspicious.
Well, meme coins are all about internet trends and humor.
So they're not really based on any serious technology?
Not necessarily. Their value is driven by online communities.
So it's all about hype and speculation.
Pretty much. And speaking of hype, Goatse Maximus saw its market cap explode.
Explode. How much are we talking?
It went from 1.8 million to over 300 million.
300 million. That's insane.
It is, and it seems like Truth Terminal played a role in that.
How so?
It was promoting GOT on its X account.
So the AI was pumping up the value of this meme coin.
It seems that way, but that's where things get a bit murky.
Marky, what do you mean?
Well, this whole narrative of a fully autonomous AI millionaire,
Yeah.
it might not be the whole story. Some sources are suggesting there's more to it.
Okay, so what are the skeptics saying?
Well, it turns out a lot of the bot's holdings might be from donations.
Donations from who?
Meme coin traders. It's almost like people are sending these coins as tributes.
Wait, so it's not just trading profits. People are giving it money.
Apparently. And there's also evidence that humans might be guiding its investments.
Seriously. So this whole thing might be less about AI genius and more about clever marketing.
That's the question, isn't it?
So is Truth Terminal a financial whiz kid or just a well-orchestrated illusion?
It's hard to say for sure.
This is getting pretty wild.
Yeah, it's a perfect example of why we need to be critical when it comes to AI and finance.
You mean we can't just believe everything we read online?
Exactly. The technology is fascinating and the potential is there,
But
but we can't just take things at face value.
you're right. We need to do our own research and think for ourselves.
Absolutely.
So even if there's doubt about Truth Terminal's success, it's clear AI is making waves in finance.
Oh, absolutely. AI's ability to analyze data and execute trades is undeniable.
It's like having a superpowered analyst working 24/7.
Right. It can spot patterns and make decisions much faster than any human.
I read somewhere that some institutions are even using AI to predict market trends.
Yeah, that's becoming more common. It's like having a crystal ball, but powered by algorithms.
That sounds pretty amazing,
Yeah.
but also kind of scary.
Yeah, there's definitely a flip side to all this power.
Like what?
Well, what happens when an AI makes a bad call? Who's responsible then?
That's a good question.
And how do we make sure these systems are transparent and accountable?
Right. We need to be able to understand how they're making decisions.
Exactly. These are big questions that we need to address as AI becomes more integrated into our lives.
It's like we're entering uncharted territory.
We are, and it's both exciting and a little bit daunting.
I agree. So where do we go from here?
Well, I think the first step is to keep learning and asking questions.
Like we're doing right now.
Exactly. The more we understand about AI, the better equipped we'll be to navigate this new landscape.
That's a good point. Knowledge is power, right?
It definitely is in this case.
So what are some of the specific ways AI is being used in finance today?
Well, besides the trading and market prediction we've already talked about, AI is also being used for fraud detection, algorithmic trading, and personalized investment advice.
Algorithmic trading. What's that?
It's where algorithms execute trades at speeds impossible for humans to match.
Wow. So it's all about speed and efficiency.
Exactly. And personalized investment advice is another growing area.
What does that involve?
It's basically like having a robo-advisor that uses AI to create a portfolio tailored to your needs.
So it takes into account your risk tolerance, financial goals, and market conditions?
Exactly. It can be a much more affordable option than hiring a human financial advisor.
That sounds pretty convenient. But I'm not sure I'm ready to hand over all my financial decisions to a robot.
I understand that hesitation. It's important to remember that AI is a tool.
And like any tool, it can be used for good or bad.
Exactly.
Yeah.
We need to be aware of the potential risks as well as the benefits.
So what are some of the risks we should be thinking about?
Well, one concern is the potential for bias in algorithms.
Bias. How does that happen?
If the data used to train an AI is biased, the algorithm itself can become biased.
So it might make unfair or discriminatory decisions.
Exactly. That's why it's so important to have diverse and representative data sets.
That makes sense. What other risks are there?
There's also the risk of over-reliance on AI.
Meaning we become too dependent on these systems.
Right. We need to make sure we don't lose sight of human judgment and intuition.
So it's about finding the right balance between human expertise and AI capabilities.
Exactly. And then there are the ethical implications.
Like what?
Well, we've already touched on bias, but there are other ethical concerns as well.
Like what kind of concerns?
Things like job displacement, for example.
You mean people losing their jobs to AI?
It's a real possibility. As AI becomes more sophisticated, it could automate many tasks currently performed by humans.
And that could have a big impact on the job market.
Absolutely. We need to start thinking about how we can prepare for these changes.
So it's not just about the technology itself, but about its impact on society as a whole.
Exactly. We need to consider the social and economic consequences of AI adoption.
That's a really important point. It feels like we're standing at a crossroads.
I agree. The future of finance is being shaped right before our eyes, and AI is playing a pivotal role.
But the path we choose will determine whether this technology leads to a more equitable and prosperous society or exacerbates existing inequalities.
That's a powerful way to put it. The decisions we make today will have far-reaching consequences.
So we need to be thoughtful and deliberate in our approach to AI.
Absolutely. We can't just rush headlong into the future without considering the potential downsides.
This has been a really insightful conversation. It's clear that AI is a powerful force that's already transforming the world of finance.
And its influence is only going to grow in the years to come.
So what can we do to prepare for this future?
I think the most important thing is to stay informed and engaged.
You mean keep learning about AI and its implications?
Exactly. And don't be afraid to ask questions and challenge assumptions.
That's great advice.
Yeah.
We all have a role to play in shaping the future of AI.
We do. And it's up to us to make sure that future is one we can all be proud of.
Well said. This has been a fascinating deep dive into the world of AI and finance. I'm definitely going to be thinking about these issues a lot more going forward.